So starting here from Commercial Street, where it joins onto Whitechapel High Street actually, which just formed Whitechapel Road. Whitechapel High Street and Whitechapel Road running more or less east-west. Commercial Street runs more or less north-south. So we're now walking north up Commercial Street. There's obviously new buildings at this end. There's a school over to the right. What's interesting on this stretch is there's quite a few locations, particularly the streets on the right hand side, which have got quite a few connections to the Whitechapel case. They don't really exist anymore as proper streets. So Thrall Street, Flower and Dean Street and Fashion Street, lots of connections there with lodging houses, and some of the victims who were there. This is Wentworth Street again, which runs east-west, site of Petticoat Lane Market. So just down there on the left is Castle Alley, and then Goulston Street and the Valley Middlesex Street. So they all run pretty much parallel, these four roads to each other. So now walking up, so if we left, I don't know why this chap was running, it's nothing to do with me. We're not that far really from Goulston Street, a few hundred yards at the moment, a minute or two's walk. We're continuing up here, and it's interesting, some of the shops along here, clothing, cloth shops and food shops, a real variety of stuff. It's not just looking back down south. That's Thrall Street you just saw briefly. It's now part of a housing estate. It used to go all the way straight through to Brick Lane. Mary Ann Nichols left the Frying Pan pub, which is down Thrall Street, actually, on the night of her death. It's also where Mary Kelly met the Astrakhan man on the corner of there. She just passed Hutchinson a little bit earlier. I actually walk on the other side of the road in a different video, so I'm not panning over there too much at the moment. Behind this green lorry, getting really rubbish angle, is Flower and Dean Street. Just to put that one in perspective, Flower and Dean Street, and again another lot of lodging houses. Liz Stride lodged there, 32 Flower and Dean Street. In fact, where this blue sort of facade is on the right, behind there you can see that white building. That was the Queen's Head pub, where Liz Stride went and had some drinks on the day prior to her murder. It was also outside of here. George Hutchinson had a brief look at Astrakhan man and Mary Kelly. So this is where he got his famous look when the man lowered his eyes. This is White's Row, which runs parallel to Dorset Street. That's Toynbee Street, which goes back down to Wentworth Street. So all these buildings got knocked down a long time ago, but you'll just see up here these green shutters, a part of what was, or the location of, Dorset Street. In fact, this one at the end with the white kind of graffiti on is a location of Britannia pub, or what was the Britannia pub, colloquially known as Ringers, after the landlady and landlord. It's a site where Annie Chapman had a fight a few days before her murder, got a black eye from Eliza Cooper. You can also see across the road now Christchurch. Annie Chapman met her friend, Annie Farmer, outside of there, told her about the fight. So, very, very local area. Very localised area for a lot of incidents in the Whitechapel case. This is Brushfield Street, which runs down to Bishopsgate. So, although we're heading north, we turned west here, would be on Bishopsgate. That went down to the end. Brushfield Street got through to Bishopsgate. This to the left is Spitalfields Market. 10 Bells pub just over the road with the black awnings. But to our left is Spitalfields Market. It's larger than it would have been in 1888. This has been expanded. It's quite a nice place to have a bit of a walk around. And we could carry on up the road past this, where you see these green scaffolding. There's a couple more buildings. There's a kind of yellowy building at the end. That's Hanbury Street. So we could continue walking down there. but I'm going to take a slightly more interesting route. I think it's a slightly more interesting route. Down by the side of Christchurch. This is Fournier Street, or Fournier Street, however you feel like pronounce it. Just look back, you can see, quickly glimpse there, where Dorset Street was, where the white building, the car park was. So Fournier Street in a second. You can see these lovely kind of old buildings, much more atmospheric. In a second, there you go. Just pop a filter on, just to make it darker, just to give a bit of an impression of what it might have been like in sort of early dawn light, so you get a slightly more claustrophobic effect. It's not all bright lit like it is on an afternoon. So just turning now, walking north. This is Wilkes Street. Wilkes Street was present again. You can see these nice warehouse buildings almost, with the big windows and the big doors where goods were lifted up. Just to the left here is Puma Court, and that goes through to Commercial Street again. These roads, you probably see now why I chose to walk down this one. It's a bit more atmospheric. The buildings are these much nicer brick ones. The doors opening straight out onto the street. Princelet Street, which was present at the time, that runs parallel to Hanbury Street. So still walking north here. Up ahead is actually the brewery now, Truman's Brewery buildings. They really started building big around 1970 here, knocked down the entire north side of Hanbury Street. So this is Hanbury Street now, running across. If we turn left, we'd be back onto Commercial Street, but we're going to turn right. So we're now heading east. So currently on the southern side of the street, and you can see where this big ugly building is now. There's various bits and shops and things at the bottom, but the houses on the right hand side retain some of their brickwork on the top. Wait a second, I'll just pop around and have a look at it. You can see perhaps the street looks a bit more like those famous pictures of Hanbury Street with the door. And just here is roughly the location. I'll run the video, go inside of there, and just so you can see where it is. It's roughly location of 29 Hanbury Street, where it was, where Annie Chapman, her body was found. Annie Chapman as well was lodging in Dorset Street, a bit further down than Miller's Court, where the Mary Kelly murder was committed. She was at 35 Dorset Street again. We'll see that on a different video. That was her lodging house. So again, you know, lots of connections with this particular area. This is Brick Lane up there. There's the part of the brewery building going across the road. That's Brick Lane heading south. Goes all the way down towards Whitechapel Road.